And welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Thursday, March 17th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories right here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com, so go there and go there often. And here are some of the news stories from the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The operators of Connecticut's two casinos reported stable slot revenues in February, collecting almost the same amount compared with 1 year ago. Foxwoods Resort Casino says its revenue was $51.1 million, a decrease of less than 1% from February 2010. Mohegan Sun says its February slot profits were up about $22,000 to $58 million, an increase of less than 0.1% over February of 2010. Both casinos saw their income rebound after a snowy January in which Mohegan Sun's revenue was down 12% and Foxwoods was down nearly 6% compared with January 2010. The Mohegan Sun is located in Uncasville and is owned by the Mohegan tribe. Foxwoods, based in Mashantucket, is owned by the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation. Tribal leaders urged fellow tribes on this Tuesday to go beyond gambling and tobacco when it comes to generating revenues for their economies. Our nation has 3 casinos. We do very well with it. We also sell an awful lot of cigarettes, said Robert Porter, president of the Seneca Nation of Indians based in New York State. Porter told tribal government leaders, entrepreneurs, and U.S. government officials in Las Vegas this week that tribes should work with the United States government to try to get more freedom over their land and money. The Seneca has New York casinos in Niagara Falls, Salamanca, and Buffalo, and is also in the motor fuel industry. The tribe says its ventures generate $1.1 billion per year and employ more than 6,500 people, including folks outside the tribe. Chairman Robert Martin of the Morongo Band of Mission Indians in California says tribes must be willing to consider various kinds of investments that have proven demand. The Morongo Band has a casino in Southern California, which also owns a 36-hole golf course and other businesses, including almond groves and a bowling alley. Martin says businesses won't work without customers, but tribes can attract them by selling goods and services that are needed. Robert McGee, treasurer of the Parch Band of Creek Indians based in Alabama, said economic development can sometimes seem slow because tribal governments have to be conservative in considering spending to invest or pay for direct services for their people. The latest findings in a survey conducted every 5 years by the U.S. Census Bureau shows some growth in businesses owned by Alaska Natives and American Indians, but the increase has failed to equal more jobs. Survey results released this week show almost 237,000 businesses brought in a total of more than $34 billion in receipts in 2007, a 28% increase from 2002. Most of the businesses were owner-operated and had no employees. The remaining 23,704 businesses had about 184,400 paid employees, a 3.6% drop. Census officials say the survey doesn't include tribally owned businesses such as casinos or businesses owned by Alaska Native regional or village corporations. The figures were released as tribal leaders gathered in Las Vegas for an economic summit organized by the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development. Speakers on Tuesday and Wednesday urged tribes to go beyond gambling and tobacco to create revenue for their economies. The Shoshone Bannock tribes are requiring convicted sex offenders who live and work or attend school on the reservation to register with the tribe. The Blackfeet Morning News reports Olita Benally, the tribe's sex offender registry technician, will begin registering all qualifying sex offenders starting next week. Offenders must provide their criminal history, their driver's license, or any identification cards, a DNA sample, finger and palm prints, any email address they use, where they live and work, and a vehicle description and license plate number. Fort Hall Police Chief Pat Teton says those convicted of sex offenses in tribal court must also register. Frequency of registration will vary from every 3 months to every year, depending on the severity of the offense. The information will be available on a website as well. The Yakama Nation says it's making progress in recovering from the February 12th wildfire that destroyed 20 homes on tribal land in White Swan. Harry Smiskin of the Tribal Council told KNDO that victims are depending on families and friends are staying at motels as they wait for mobile homes expected to arrive later this week. More than 30 volunteer organizations are helping the tribe, which is seeking federal aid. The cost of rebuilding is estimated at $2.8 million. The deputy director of the Nez Perce tribe's fish production division says the tribe has marked an important milestone in restoring coho salmon to the Clearwater River in northern Idaho. Becky Johnson tells the Lewiston Tribune that 500,000 juvenile fish that are the offspring of adult coho that return to tributaries of the Clearwater have been released back into the Clearwater. Johnson said this year is the first time all the released juvenile fish came from parents that returned to Clearwater tributaries. Johnson said the juveniles were raised at the Eagle Creek Fish Hatchery in Oregon and are the offspring of coho adults that returned to Clearwater tributaries in the year 2009. Clearwater coho were officially declared extinct in the 1980s. More protests around the state of Wisconsin are planned this weekend as growing discontent over the newly elected governor there continues to grow. Another rally coupled with an anti-war rally on the university and an invasion of Iraq during George Bush's administration is the plan this Saturday, along with a moonwalker protest on Capitol Square. I won't elaborate too much on that one. Other protests are scheduled throughout the state, including one near the Lakudere Ojibwe Reservation in Hayward, Wisconsin on Saturday, March 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the corner of Highway 63 and 27, where the 7th District Republicans are meeting nearby for fundraising and celebrating the recent passage of the governor's union-busting bill. Maybe we'll see some of you there or somewhere else. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank you all for showing up and Pete Nagigi. Come back again soon.